Hi, my name's Brett Rominger. I'm the composer and sound designer here at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival for the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. My job as that is to basically handle anything audio. Set designer is going to provide a set that we see that the actors will perform on. My job is to fill the gaps and create the space outside of the set. The birds twittering in the trees, the crickets at night, campfires. Any music that happens in between scenes is going to be my responsibility, and I'm going to be building that later. But we had the nice surprise on this show of our interns actually are quite musical, so we've kind of are taking some of the transitional music and some of the underscoring music, and they're going to be playing it on real instruments. So I've had to take some time that I would have been building a show and teach them to play or help them learn to play. When I start designing a show, usually it starts with a conversation with the director and in my case a lot of times with the set designer so that I know what they're thinking and whether things are moving that I have to cover that noise or just enhance what we're seeing. Usually end up having a conversation or 10 with the director, depending on the director, and you find out where they're wanting to head with it. What time period, for instance. Tom Sawyer is set in the 1840s, so we're using, they didn't have cars, so we shouldn't hear any sound effects I use or build. We should never hear a car or any kind of a gasoline motor of any sort, because they didn't exist. When you're creating the atmosphere of a show, you take into a lot of things. When it's set, is it Elizabethan England in the 1600s? Is it America in the 2012? There's a lot of different things. You're going to hear background sounds. Are we in a city? Are we in the countryside? In this particular show, we spend some time by the Mississippi River, so we're going to hear the Mississippi River. But I'm going to maybe have a little trouble with that because any modern recordings of the Mississippi River have tugboats going up and down it, and we hear sounds that they wouldn't be hearing then. So I'll probably have to create an 1840s Mississippi River. I have to make sure that the show, in the same way that a lighting designer makes the show look right, I have to make the show sound right. Anything that's not them actually saying lines from the script, for instance, some of the incidental music that we're going to throw in, I got to make sure that they are doing it good and clean and appropriate to the time period and the place. When you're looking for sounds, a lot of times I have sound effects libraries all over the place. They're on a hard drive right now, digital. Used to, we had them on CDs, and before that we had them on cassettes and LPs and vinyl. And in period shows like Tom Sawyer, where a lot of the source material that I would have off of those sound effects CDs and hard drive it's been recorded since we've had recording ability, which was 50 years after our show is set. So you'll hear train whistles and things that they might have heard, but not as frequently as we hear them and take them for granted. You can't have an airplane fly over. Besides spending time actually recording the music I'm going to play or sound effects that we need to have in a show, I actually do spend time sitting in rehearsal and watching rehearsals, because most of the time a good portion of the sound that you end up putting in a show isn't actually written into the script that says we hear birds or we hear crickets. And if you are hearing birds or crickets, what does that mean? How fast are the crickets chirping? How, there's usually a rhythm to a scene. And if you can find that pulse and get those crickets pulsing so that they're not pulling away from the scene but are enhancing the drama of the moment, for lack of a better term. If you were going to be building the soundtrack for Tom Sawyer, what kind of sounds would you expect to hear in 1840s along the Mississippi River in a small town in Missouri?